Who are you? A woman, wife, ex-wife, mom, single woman, CEO, president, daughter, best friend to administrator, teacher, nurse. The list goes on, and many in our culture point to these external traits as those that define you. A Google search reveals over 300 million articles on identity. Of the articles I read, they point to cultural, societal, familial, political, regional, and other influences which define your identity. I think there might be more to identity than external forces and definitions. Years ago, the first CSI program burst onto the television screen with the theme song, "Who Are You?" One of the lines I remember was, "I really want to know." The whole premise of the show was to solve the mystery of the deceased within 60 minutes. They looked at identifying the person, their job, their past history, and connections. Totally unrealistic to uncover all this information in the allotted time frame, yet we found it captivating. But did we discover that person's true identity? What if identity has more to do with your internal estimation and intrinsic value? Throughout life, my names have more to do with my role. Daughter, sister, wife, cousin, mom, aunt, grandmother. That's not who I am. My given name hints at who my parents desired I become, follower of God. And in that, I think we're getting closer to the true meaning of identity. Merriam-Webster defines identity as the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. That didn't have anything to do with roles, did it? So using that lens, when you look in the mirror, who are you? Failure? Overweight? Ugly? Skinny? Too brash? Too shy? Intimidated? Unseen? Worthless? Coward? Nothing? Pretty? Handsome? Strong? Weak? Outgoing? Faithful? Kind? Gracious? Merciful? Characteristics involve our internal values and belief systems. While cultural and family influence these belief systems, we have God-given ones. God says He created you and me according to His will and purpose. We aren't an afterthought. Throughout the Bible, we read that God says you are a royal priesthood, loved by God, redeemed, called by name, blessed, His masterpiece, evaluated by your heart. Those are just a few of what we find in the Bible. And to explore more about who God says you are, I've included a link to a free worksheet that I want you to have and go through. When you read the above statements and those on this worksheet, how do they change your internal dialogue? Our identity influences our actions. We think and act often out of how we view ourselves. For many years, I believed I was painfully shy. People told me I was, so I acted that way. Well, I'll never be the life of the party. I discovered I wasn't necessarily shy. I simply prefer to listen to others in a group setting until I feel comfortable to enter the conversation. Rather than identify with shyness, I am shy. It's a way to approach unknown situations. Observe first. I find I prefer talking with people one-on-one rather than larger groups. As a coach, that comes in handy. Understanding that I am not shy, which is an identity statement, helps me interact with others in my preferred style. Listen to how you talk about yourself. What I am phrases do you use? Could these phrases be learned responses or true identity statements? Well, let's look at the difference between learned responses and identity statements. First, learned response, I am worthless. An identity statement, God calls me His masterpiece. I am a diabetic. I have diabetes. I am stupid. I love to learn. I am unseen. God sees me. Learning your true identity allows you to change your thoughts and behaviors to coincide with God's view of you. Today, would you take 30 minutes to write out all the things you believe about yourself? Use your journal or an online document. Don't worry about anybody reading it. This exercise is just for you. How many of your statements that you wrote down use I am in a negative connotation? Well, now let me give you a challenge. Flip those negative statements to the positive based on the verses in the Who Does God Say I Am worksheet that you can download. Your true identity rests in God. Let's commit to changing our mindset and negative self-talk to allow God to do His redemptive work in us. Need some help? Let's talk. We'll grow together and learn who God says you are.